Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To Mr. Arrington's point, and I know he feels passionate about this, I think it's worth just spending a little time for listeners who may not be aware of what we're talking about to sort of explain that. And I'll go back to a comment that the ranking member made in regards to slogans like campaign slogans that are easy, and he used the word superficial. And I understand the point with that. But what we're talking about here isn't superficial. And in fact, we're not even talking about individuals who deserve benefits through hospice or any of the other Medicare, any of the programs that we're talking about. We're talking about actual criminals. And someone else had mentioned, I think Mr. Kelly, like in any other setting, what we're talking about here would like blow people's minds. And I think that's why you saw Mr. Arrington so passionate. So, I'll just read back a few of the statements that you've all made. You said these are fraudulent agencies that do not look or operate like legitimate providers. They don't maintain websites. They provide clustering of common addresses, which means they are fake addresses for multiple criminal organizations at the same address. Large-scale criminal fraud, alarming trends, products that are completely unnecessary being paid for, multiple large-scale instances, 289 companies, not just individuals, but companies that are suspected fraudulent. Dramatic rise in Medicare payments for specific, in this case, skin substitutes, way beyond what you would expect medically. Massive transnational scheme. Criminal organizations. When we're talking fraud, waste, and abuse, we're not talking about an individual going to the government and asking for a handout that they don't deserve. We're talking about criminal organizations knowing how to essentially infiltrate and game the system in some way to take hundreds of billions of dollars of taxpayer dollars that should be going to people who really need it. That's what we're all talking about, right? And so I think listeners really need to get that perspective that I can tell you I didn't have until I came here and started seeing this. And by the way, we're seeing this across multiple federal programs, not just what we're talking about today. And so I am glad when Democrats on the other side of the aisle today are talking about fraud, but my question would be, how would you address it? Because when we looked at SNAP, we saw states, we do something called improper payments, where an audit organization or some organization looks at payments that went out from state agencies on federal programs after the fact, and it's called improper payments. And we did put in the One Big Beautiful Bill a provision that said if a state who is responsible, the state's responsible to ensure that people that get the dollars, deserve it, and are eligible, and if they're doing that poorly, then they should pay a higher portion of the SNAP dollars rather than the federal government. So for instance, Alaska had very high improper payments. When we put that in the bill, Democrats didn't join us. They accused us of taking money from taxpayers or individuals, Americans who really needed it. Couldn't be further from the truth. We tried to do the same thing in Medicaid, where some states, and this is, if I have time, I want to talk about states as well, because there are huge variances in how states are implementing these programs. But some states are doing a very poor job of ensuring that recipients are eligible for Medicaid dollars before the dollars go out. We also think some individuals who are on Medicaid should be working to receive that. When we put those provisions in place, that would have prevented fraud, would have provided for better use of taxpayer dollars to ensure that people really need it. Democrats, all they're doing is accusing us of it, of taking money from individuals who need it. Couldn't be further from the truth. So I am glad to hear that today they're talking about fraud. We really should work together. and realize that this is a $100 billion problem. They also criticize DOGE now. Unfortunately, DOGE wasn't as successful as I hoped it had been, but I think they were successful at pointing out some of the problems that we have. So let's really work together. Let's figure this out. There are a lot of things that we can do before the dollars go out to ensure that the dollars are going to people who truly need it. So Democrats are talking finally about acknowledging that there are instances of fraud, and we've always been talking about that. So I really hope that they're sincere about this and that we can work together to really address this. It's a massive issue that would help to ensure taxpayer dollars are spent wisely and the dollars are really going to individuals who need it.